Once again, we have returned with our fish from an epic fishing battle against these pike. And pike are so cool to fish for because not only do they taste awesome, but they are just these mean, aggressive, tough fish. This is the biggest one we caught. It was 32¼ inches, my personal best. This one's missing part of its tail, got bit off by something. Some of the other ones are left with their own little battle scars. And over the winter, when we went fishing for pike, we also caught some other big ones, and I finally learned how to get my nice boneless pike fillets. Let's get these filleted out, packaged up. And there we go. So that's the waste you're gonna get when you take out the Y bones. You could probably do a little bit better than that, but that's not too bad. And the Y bone is what it's called because it kind of looks like a little Y, and that's what you're trying to get out of there. So out of this fillet, you're left with, I mean, 2 pretty nice pieces, and then you got the back piece, which is gonna be all boneless. Once you get it down, it's not that bad to do, and what made it easier for me was trying to practice on a bigger fish. It's a little easier to get the bones out, and another thing that makes it easier is if you clean these fish prior to doing all this. So they get a little bit slimy, and what Arielle does is she scrubs them down with a brush and vinegar, and it gets all the slime off of them. This other one. One fillet that's all boneless. We're getting creative this time around. We're gonna do a few different things with this pike. Tonight we're gonna fry some up, and then we're gonna do something that we really like to do. We do it almost every year, and that's make pickled pike. And the cool thing about pickled pike is you can use smaller fish like this. You can use fish that are even half this size, and you don't have to do the boneless fillet method on them. When I'm gonna do this one, I'm just gonna slab it into some fillets, take the skin off, leave the bones in. When you pickle it, the vinegar in there, it dissolves the bones. And then we're also gonna be putting some aside. We're gonna freeze it for now, and we're gonna be, what am I saying? We've got a pretty cool recipe I wanted to try after we have pickled the pike, which I'm pretty excited for. And then the rest of it, we're just gonna put in the freezer in vacuum bags. Got a fish for you. I was going to put them on the fish, kind of, and then we got to put the cashews somewhere. Welcome back. We've got all our ingredients laid out to make our pickled pike. The pike was in the freezer for about 5 days, and then we brought it out. It's thawed out, and we're gonna get sliced up. And you can slice it thin or thick, however you wanna do it. For what we're making, which is gonna be pickled pike ceviche, I was thinking a nice thin slice will work good for us. Before we get it sliced, I'm gonna quickly mix up our brine so it has a little bit of time to sit. You can heat up the brine to kind of really get the flavor out of it, or you can not. It's about 85 degrees out here and really smoky, so I don't feel like heating it up. We're gonna do a 3 to 1? We're gonna do a 2 to 1 ratio, so that's 2 parts vinegar, 1 part water, a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar. For our vinegar, we're gonna use mostly just regular distilled vinegar. We've got some white vinegar will go in there, white wine vinegar, and then we'll just do a couple tablespoons of regular sugar. Let's start with 2.5 cups of vinegar. Two tablespoons of sugar. 2 tablespoons of salt. We added some red pepper flakes, juniper berries, and peppercorns in there. A couple years ago, we made a batch of pickled pike, and we made kind of, not a mistake, but it made it not as good. And what we did was we really packed it in there, and that doesn't work as well because the vinegar doesn't have as much like surface area on the fish to kind of cook the fish, so to speak. So what we did this time is we got it kind of nice and loose in there, and a few of the ingredients we put in there is jalapeno, lime, lemon peel, shallot, red onion. We've got a bunch of awesome herbs from the garden. We're gonna top this one off with the brine. Let's see what she looks like. Okay, we're gonna get our second jar made. Looks like we're gonna get, I believe these are both half gallons. So we're gonna get a gallon of pickled pike, and this is gonna sit in the refrigerator, or in our case, it's gonna go in our ice chest. You can enjoy this after about a week, but we usually let it sit for about 2 weeks.
We're moving on to another task. It is full-blown summer in Alaska. It is a jungle here. Things are flourishing, wildflowers are blooming, everything is just green. And Eric and I have been doing quite a bit of harvesting over the past few weeks, getting ready to do some canning today. Some of the first things that we like to harvest are spruce tips, dandelions, and rose petal flowers. All of those have a fairly short window to harvest them, and we had wanted to do some early fishing. So we tried to make sure that we got that done as well as the fishing. And usually we'll kind of pick it and then process it. This year we're doing things a little differently. We picked it, we stored it, and now we're ready to get down to business. Dandelions in particular are really finicky. I didn't know this, but they are only open usually during the day, and they're usually open earlier in the morning. So if it's like a cloudy day or overcast, and even just later in the afternoon, they tend to close up. And I like to harvest them when they're all the way open. I feel like you just get more from the flower like that. So we picked a bunch of those and we made dandelion tea. There's 2 ways you can go about it. You can either just pour some hot water and let them steep overnight, or you can lightly simmer them for like 10 to 15 minutes. That's what we chose, and then I froze the tea. We did the same thing for the roses. Eric was great and helped me harvest lots of petals in our driveway over the course of a few days when they were blooming. And I've never done that before. I didn't know how it was gonna freeze, but it actually froze awesome. I steeped the flowers with some hot water. I let them sit overnight, and then I strained out the petals. They're not a very pretty color when you're done with it, but if you add some lemon juice, it's really cool. It turns this eccentric, bright, light pink again. And I froze it in anticipation for today. I also froze some of the petals, so I'm hoping that those are going to thaw and turn out pretty nice to mix into our jelly. So that's the main thing that we're making is jelly. We are completely out of our jellies. It's been a little while since we made some. We just haven't had a good stock or supply here, and we really want some more jellies. We love rose jelly. It's really delicate. It's amazing on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And this year we're gonna do something a little different. I have some blueberries from 2 years ago. They're frozen. They're not really good anymore. I mean, they're not really good for like eating or putting in something. So I'm actually just gonna be boiling them down and using that juice and mixing it with the rose tea to make some really awesome jelly. Now normally I would use the blueberries in the jelly or jam that we were gonna make, but because of the age of these and the quality, I'm just making the choice to strain them out. I've got a little bit of cheesecloth, wait until it cools so I can kind of squish it and get all the liquid out. And I think it's gonna make for a pretty cool mixture of colors here. Once we get this back on the heat, we're gonna add probably more sugar than I have. Right now I just have a cup in the rose tea. I think we're gonna be using more than that. All of our recipes, we pretty much are just winging them. So I don't know exactly how much we're gonna use. I am gonna let it simmer down a little bit and evaporate some of the water, make sure that I get a nice consistency. I'm just gonna go off the pectin in the blueberries. I've made it before and used pectin, and I did not know that blueberries, especially I think the wild blueberries, have a lot of pectin in them already. So it's enough to set the jelly on their own. The jars have heated up, so we're just waiting on this. We've got 2 cups of sugar total in here, and we started with 11 cups of liquid. I think we're down to about 10 now. I had anticipated it would kind of thicken up on its own, but I think it would need to cook down quite a bit more and have more sugar. So we are going to resort to using some pectin. This is the less sugar pectin, and I'm going to use a very small amount of it because the only thing worse than really runny jelly or soupy jelly is really thick jelly that you have to slice like butter. So we don't want that either. We also have about the juice of 1 whole lemon in here. So I'm gonna add some of the pectin, and we are going to add our flowers. We've got some fireweed flowers, and then we also have those rose petals. Put a little bit of flowers in each of them first. We ended up with 11 beautiful jars. The flowers dispersed nicely in there, and we did use about 8 cups of petals, so a lot to get that consistency. You would think that would be kind of a weird texture when you're eating it, but personally I really like it. And scrap what I said earlier, because we used almost a full bag of pectin to get the consistency that we wanted. We have to pressure or water bath these for about 10 minutes. Okay.
That's why I do the peeling.
We're moving on to our dandelion jelly, and I am using some green apples in this recipe for the pectin, but also to be kind of a contrasting flavor since dandelions are fairly sweet on their own. They taste a lot like honey. I thought the sour apples would be a nice mix. Pretty sure we did this last year too. And we're gonna put lemon juice in there and add our dandelion tea. And I'm gonna be mashing up the apples, I'm pretty sure, to give kind of more of a, almost like a thicker consistency. This is the dandelion tea. This is what it looks like. Ooh. blended up the softened apples and immersion blend them. Now we're gonna mix them back in that liquid and see if we need to add any additional pectin in there. So we'll see what happens. It's good. Yeah, it tastes like honey with a little bit of apple. It tastes a little more sweet, so I personally would say no more sugar. This jelly ended up needing about a quarter pack of that pectin, and they look really good. So we're gonna process them, done with the jelly, and we're doing a little bit of harvesting before dinner time. These guys really don't fit into the mix, huh? We've got a bucket full of some gorgeous raspberry shoots and some fireweed shoots. And I'm after these both for tea. We're gonna be drying them, plucking the little leaves off and drying them in our little rack that we have. These are young shoots from the wild raspberry plants, so they don't have any flowers on them. And their thorns are really not very harmful or anything. So I like these to pick. I'm leaving the other ones for obviously the raspberries and the bees and the pollinators. There's an insane amount of bugs out here. When you walk through this part of the property, you can actually hear them humming. And last year, I think it seems to me like this field has it seems magnified. The seeds have dispersed and it's just more prolific out here. So that's why we're actually taking shoots. If we were in the wild, I would just pick some leaves off of a plant and move on to the next plant. But because it's so prolific, I felt like we have more than enough to take some of these shoots down. I really enjoy both of these in teas. The fireweed is anti-inflammatory. I believe it has vitamin A and C, whereas the raspberry leaves are a tonic, a diuretic, and they are high in antioxidants. One other plant on our list, so we're gonna go find that one. This is a bouquet of wormwood. Eric and I discovered these leaves last year here, and I was excited to learn about it. So this is a very medicinal plant. I have almost no experience with it. So I want to dry it out, try it for tea. I've actually already tried it for tea. It's pretty good. And it has a really awesome scent. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's pretty pleasant. So I've read that you can use it in spices once it's dried out, and we're gonna be trying to incorporate it in some of our foods. And luckily there is a plethora of this on the property as well. So we're gonna grab a bunch more. It's a pretty nice green. It's a little wet here, but we'll just have to do. And the rest can be fireweed. Oh, tell me this smells like a raspberry. They have like a nectar on them or something. That's what it looks like. Rose. Okay, I definitely got enough to fill up one rack each. Sun is going away. Thank you. Well, this is big enough for tonight. We're grabbing some greens for salad tonight. The garden is already producing, which is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. I'm grateful for all that compost we got because I'm pretty sure that's why everything is already starting off really strong out here. We have been harvesting these baby lettuces just because we have so many planted, and we feel like it works really well because then we get to actually enjoy them when they're young and fresh. So this is a blushed butter oak, and then I harvested Merlot and a romaine type.
Well, a night this good, you gotta eat good. So we've got an absolutely beautiful, I mean, they don't get any better looking than this, salmon fillet. It's a Copper River red salmon. I'm pulling the bones out. We're gonna cook this up with salt and pepper. We're gonna do a little bit of like basil butter on there, and then we're gonna do a spruce tip syrup glaze.
So a few years back, I was watching a Charles Dowding episode, who is a absolutely amazing gardener in the UK, and he actually harvests basil when he's harvesting lettuce and mixes it in. And I don't know why, but that never occurred to me, so I like to do that now. So we're adding some basil into our salad. Glaze time?
See how it looks.
Wow, you know what it looks like? A barbecue. It's pretty cool to be out here cooking in the summer. We just got back from the fishing trip where we got all this salmon, and we're able to make a lot of use for it with the carcasses. We're able to feed some to the dogs, the chicken, and put some in the garden. So, and of course, eat it. You want yours in the middle or on the side today?
Side, please.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Ooh. We're estimating it's about 9:30 at night. Got some sourdough croutons on top. This is one of our favorite meals in the summer.
You can't beat a good salad from the garden, honestly. That's like one of the best things about it.
We had the salmon the other night, and it was so weird to me how it does not taste like fish at all. When you eat it, it just has no, when it's that fresh.
Yeah, I agree with Arielle. I didn't really even like fish that much before we moved to Alaska. I mean, we'd catch trout and we'd eat it when we were camping and stuff, but that was about it. I would never buy fish from the store. It's good. It's like got a glaze on it. Oh, it's like sticky.
Oh, you put the fennel in there too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can't even taste it. What did you put in that dressing? It's good. Oh,
Expeller pressed canola oil.
You didn't add our dressing to it?
No, the only thing I've added to this, I added a little balsamic, but that's about it.
We're back outdoors and we are going to be trying our pickled pike today. It has been 2 weeks that we've been letting it pickle, so it's ready for the dish that we want to make. First, we have to do something with our spruce tips that we've been letting sit with some sugar. They have been sitting in these jars for close to 4 weeks now. So really similar to the roses and the dandelions, we picked these in advance and we froze them. I find that they freeze really well. And once I had some downtime, I was able to layer them in these jars with sugar. So this one is just like cane sugar, and these two are brown sugar. So you just do like a layer of spruce tips, some more sugar, spruce tips, sugar. Keep alternating until you get to the top. It does shrink down quite a bit. So a few days later, I added a little bit more to make sure that we got a good amount to process today. So this is spruce tip syrup. And there's two different ways to make it. You can make it this way. You just let it sit on the counter. You can let it sit in the sun if you want to. The sugar makes it so you don't have any issues with bacteria in there. Last year we did it this way for the first time, and I love the result. It turned out really tasty. I think we let it go for closer to 2 months. And in the past, we've made it where we actually put some spruce tips with water, the sugar, and we will like boil it down for a little bit and make the syrup that way. We're gonna get these strained and get them into jars and process them for 10 minutes. The spruce tips have such a pleasant aroma. I don't really know how to describe it. I always say it's like something else, but it's really pretty unique, and it works really well for syrup. It's absolutely delicious. I really like this method compared to the heating it method. It seems like you get a hair more of like a concentrated product at the end. We harvest them this year from a little patch just right over here actually. We have so many spruce trees here. They're just profound that we don't really have to worry about taking down small trees. And those are usually the ones that produce the best spruce tips. It's the growing point of the tree. So typically when you're harvesting them, you'll go around collecting from lots of different trees. You don't really want to take it all from one tree because that's its growth for the year. So we find it is easier to just thin them out, prune them down at the bottom, cut them down, and then take or strip the entire tree. It works really well, and that's how we're able to get so many spruce tips. You can freeze these as well. You do not have to can them, but we have real limited freezer space, so we're choosing to process them. While those are processing, I wanted to show you our little makeshift high tunnel. So this we made earlier in the year to house the plants from the inside of the cabin to kind of transition them to outside. And we were going to take it down, but we have some plants that are being, utilizing the warmer temperatures in here. So we picked up some pepper plants from a local school sale, and I started tomatillos with the thinking that maybe we would have that like greenhouse done. Yeah, we don't have that done. Our ginger plants in here that we started in the winter, and it has grown tremendously. It doesn't look super good right now because I had transplanted it. I kind of upped it just probably like a month ago, so it's still adjusting, but it has the hugest roots. I think we're definitely going to be able to harvest from it, which is pretty cool. We have lots of peppers already. I have some basil in here that I need to get outside, and some nasturtium. But yeah, there's some huge peppers back here. Oh, they're turning purple. Those are huge. Oh, I broke one off. Pretty neat. He already has more on him.
A little bit of both of these tomatoes right here.
And then whenever you get, I was just thinking for dishes, for citrus maybe even. I was thinking like popsicles or something crazy. I'm pretty sure I'm getting burnt right now on my neck from the sun. That's a lot. We're getting started on our tostadas, and we are incorporating some normal flour or all-purpose flour into the mix. Usually it's just corn tortillas, and we have some purple corn masa, so it's gonna add a cool color. We've got lard going into there, and Eric's gonna get these fried up. There you go.
Oh yeah, we're frying now. A lot of awesome ingredients going into our ceviche. It almost looks like a really good pico de gallo, so let's do it. Avocado, tons of cilantro, maybe we won't put all that in. Red onion, jalapeno, cucumber, all our tomato, Lots of citrus here. A ton of lime juice, lemon juice, half of an orange. Let's get it with some salt and pepper before we forget. And now the star of the show, let's cut up some of our pickled pike. Oh, it smells good. We realized right after we made this, we were like, dang it, we wanted to put spruce tips in there. So we put a handful of spruce tips in. Those are really coming through. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice and firm.
Okay, it's finally time to eat, and I'm very excited for this dish. It is a Latin American recipe, and it's typically seafood, usually raw fish that is cooked in citrus. So ours is already pickled. I don't know if that's cooked, but it's technically not raw.
It's almost the same thing because we cooked it in the vinegar.
It's really similar.
Yeah.
It's not like cooked, but it's, I don't know.
I've had ceviche once in my life.
Did you have it with shrimp or fish?
I had it at a family get-together with your family a very long time ago.
Yes, it's common in Mexico as well too. But shrimp is another ingredient that folks like to do it with. Quality control was a little off on the tostadas, so we doubled them up.
Doubled them up and we're eating them with the fork. Let's dive in. This looks good.
We haven't tried it. I haven't snuck any.
I didn't sneak any
bites. Okay, well all I got is avocado in that piece.
Yeah, it's good. Holy cow, it's refreshing. Tastes like an awesome pico de gallo.
That's the first thing I'm getting is a lime. And I really like it. We don't eat citrus a lot. When we made pickled pike, this is a little while back, it's traditional to put a lot of citrus into the brine. I don't know if that's what you call it. You kind of opted not to do that. And I really like I tried a piece by itself. I really like it. It's really good.
Honestly, the fish is getting lost in here. I haven't even noticed that there's fish in it.
There's a lot of ingredients, so we could add more fish.
Whoa.
Absolutely great. It's just really, I'm getting more jalapeno.
Man.
I think at this point in our life, it's just become like a tradition for us to gather the food, whatever, and harvest it, so to speak, and then cook outside. We set up like a little table. It's always in a different area. It's just fun to be back at that point again and somewhere in Alaska.
It's been a great jalapeno got me. It's been an awesome year so far. We've got a lot of projects done around here. This place is taking shape. It's turned out good. We got plenty of fish in the freezer. Garden's producing.
Yeah, and hopefully we can do some more harvesting this year as the whole summer unfolds. We hope you enjoyed some of the recipes, and let us know if you have tried ceviche. Ceviche? Ceviche?
Ceviche. I'm pretty sure that one time we had it, there was calamari in it.
I wouldn't eat this in the middle of winter, probably. Who made it? I don't remember that.
Was that one time we went to Leo's parents' house? I just remember I thought it was really weird.
Oh, you hadn't had it before then?
I never even heard of it.
Oh, I had heard of it. I just didn't try it.
No, that was my only time I ever had it. That was good. I have no more tortilla to put the stuff on, so I'm just gonna eat it like this. That was good.
Okay, hon. Delicious. Mmm. Yum.
You can still taste it.
I'm still eating it.